Sarah Kizak, Lost in Reviews. I'm here with Chong, and say your last name for me.
Kim.
Chong Kim. And she is the inspiration for the film Eden, which is a very powerful film. For those who don't know what it's about sex trafficking in the U.S., and the story that it's told is based on her experience. So if you could kind of tell us a little bit about how you became involved in this project.
I actually started speaking out in 2003 when I went to a conference, and when we learned about human trafficking, I actually thought it was about traffic tickets.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, oh, okay, so really getting down on those traffic tickets. And they had a foreign woman who was a victim, and she was telling her story. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I went through the same thing. And so from that point on, a college girl said, well, can it happen here? And according to the so-called experts, they said no.
Oh, wow.
And that's when I said, I'm going to start speaking out. So I started speaking out, and the screenwriter, Rick Phillips, he found me an article. He wrote to me and said, I really love your story, and I would love to help you, create awareness through film. And to be honest, I thought, okay, well, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
So, and that's how it came into fruition.
Yeah. The film starts out in 1994. Is that true? Was that the time period?
Yes.
And how many years were you in this situation?
Approximately about 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're pretty open about this subject if you're advocating for this, but was it difficult to maybe to I don't know, talk to Jamie about the character or any of the situations?
No, actually it wasn't. If we were to do the film, right after I got escaped, it would have been harder. And I'm glad that I had some healing time.
Yeah.
And, and having to give Jamie pointers actually helped out, because I wanted this film to be as realistic as possible. And I wanted the viewers to feel what she was feeling, what I was feeling, the character, what it really hurts us, So, I try to give as much information as I can.
Yeah.
So.
Was the first time you saw it yesterday, or had you seen earlier cuts?
I've seen earlier cuts.
Early cuts? So it wasn't as a shock, or it wasn't, but I just think it's very brave for you to want to do this. Are there any sort of advocacy groups that you work with?
Yes. I work with 2 groups. One is called Arts for Life. They're located in Atlanta, Georgia, because Atlanta, Georgia is ranked number 1 for human trafficking in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And also, I am doing a documentary film called Street Dreams. It's through Red Earth Films, and they're located in Australia. And we go all over the world, and we're going to do a U.S. segment really soon. So we're still in the process of funding, but we do have a 501c3, and so, but Arts for Life is a outreach services. We're trying to build a home, but we're using music and arts to help these kids heal and find ways to express themselves in a very healthy and empowering way.
Okay. Since the film didn't really say, what kind of happened to this ring that you were in? Did anything happen?
Unfortunately, they were not prosecuted. After I left, I just didn't want to deal with it at the time. And especially it was still in the 90s. I didn't know anything about human trafficking.
Yeah.
And plus at that time, I literally saw myself as a prostitute, and not as a victim because of that shame factor.
Yeah.
So I just said, you know what? I want to get out of here. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And that was it. So.
Yeah, because you kind of spoke yesterday at the Q&A about, speaking out for the girls who are still you left behind, and I think that's people need to realize that this happens in the U.S., and I don't think that's something that a lot of people are aware of.
Exactly, and even if I wanted to go after them, not one person can do that. We need to form a unity. We need to go to our congressman, our councilman, and say, what are we willing to do to make legislative changes in this country? So that way it doesn't happen to another girl or another boy. Yeah. So that's
all
my
right,
hope.
Chong. Yeah. Well, thank you, Chong, for so much for talking with us. It was a great movie, and I wish you much success in your advocacy. I don't know what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.